Hi everyone, it's Lynnea. Today I'm going to mix and match some products from LDRS Creative to make a really sparkly but simple background. I'm starting here with a previously released stencil. This is the Peppermint Stick Stencil. I love this one because it's great for holiday designs if you were to stencil this in red, but it's also really great for just any kind of striped design. I sprayed the back of it with a temporary adhesive, and now I'm just using a brayer to really press those thin lines onto a piece of cardstock. I don't want these lines to shift as I'm doing my stenciling, so that's why I use the fixative spray, why I really press them in with the brayer. And now you can see me here ink blending with Dandelion ink as well as an LDRS Creative blending brush, and I'm going to go with the grain of the stencil. Usually when I ink blend, I blend in little circles, but this time I'm kind of going in a diagonal motion following the pattern of that stencil. That's going to prevent any shifting. Once that's done, I removed my stencil and I cleaned it off just with a little bit of cleaner. And now I'm going to bring that stencil back in again, and I'm going to rotate it and reline it up to create a plaid pattern. I love striped stencils for this very reason. They are so versatile. You can just create a regular background or create a fun plaid. I'm going to use some transfer gel so that I can add some foil on top. And I used the Dandelion ink in the background because I wanted this to be a gold colored background. And I love that golden yellow color of that ink. I'm using a palette knife to just evenly press that transfer gel through the stencil and then scrape off any excess so that I have a thin application. Adding just a thin layer is going to make this dry faster, and it's also going to give me a better application of my foil. Once I have that transfer gel on my stencil, I'll clean up my work surface using my palette knife and then set this aside to dry. This particular transfer gel is white when it's wet, and then once it's dry, it'll turn clear. So I'm going to set that aside to dry, and while it's drying, I want to do some die cutting using the layered poinsettia die set from LDRS Creative. Another design team member, Lynnea, has done a lot of teal colored florals with this die set, and usually I tend to stick to the traditional red flower, green petals, or leaves, but this time I decided to kind of take some inspiration from her, and I created two poinsettias in a teal and in a blue color. I'm going to adhere them together here. You can die cut these with some double stick adhesive, pop them up with foam, but I like to just add little dots of adhesive, and then I find areas that I know line up, and that's how I'm going to adhere my layered poinsettia together. So I find where the petals line up and where the edges match, and that's how I just know. I just find a marker, and on the back of the packaging for this product and for many other LDRS Creative products, there are layering guides. For stamp sets, they have colored images. It makes it really easy to put these products together. Again, I'm doing the same thing with those centers that I cut from some yellow and gold colored cardstocks. I found little edges that I know line up, and so I'm just going to put those together, and then here are my two flowers. I have my background all done, and while that was finishing drying, I went ahead and laid out my poinsettias the way I want them to be. So here's the arrangement and how I want them to look on my card. It takes a long time for me to figure out perfect placement, so once I have that done, I don't want to mess it up. So I'm going to take some masking tape and lay this on top so that I can have this all pressed together the way that I want it, and I don't have to rearrange it. This particular kind of tape is a pressure activated tape, so you want to make sure you give it a press and then it'll hold on to all those images at once. Here's my background panel, all dry. That white gel has turned clear and it's slightly tacky. So I've cut a piece of my glitter foil, and I'm just going to cut that down. When you are adding foil, you want to put the dull side against your medium, which in this case is my transfer gel, and your pretty side should be up. Now with this particular gel, I can run this through my die cutting machine, and the pressure from my die cutting machine is going to press that foil into that transfer gel. So when I peel this back, check out this pretty plaid pattern. This is a type of thing I've been obsessed with this holiday season, taking a striped stencil and just turning it one way and then turning it the other to create a plaid background. Now I'm going to grab those poinsettias that I have taped together. These are not adhered down together yet. That's what I'm doing here, just adding little bits of glue behind the petals and behind the leaves so that I can have all of those leaves as well as both of those poinsettias together as one piece. They were 6 separate pieces, and now when I remove my tape, I have them all working together as one element. The only one that I have to position is this extra little leaf here. I didn't have enough tape at the top to grab onto that. I stamped a sentiment from the Potted Poinsettia stamp set using iced tea ink, and I'm going to just line that up at the bottom, and then I will pop up both my poinsettias and my sentiment with some foam. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. I have listed and linked the LDRS Creative products that I've used below in the video description, and I'll see you soon. Bye!